Hello, everybody. How are we doing
Hey
today?
guys, happy
Chad-
Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Hope you guys are doing well. Chad and Brenda here. And we have a very exciting thing to talk about with you here today, which is 10 tips to optimizing digestion. It's going to be super awesome. So before we get started, we'd love for you guys to check in with us. Tell us how you're doing, your name, where you're from, maybe give us a little emoji in terms of how you're feeling. And we would also really appreciate it if you share this information so we can get the word out and help people with natural ways to improve their health. So, digestion.
Yes.
Before we get in all these great tips that we're going to share, why don't you tell us a little bit about the digestive system in general and why it's so important?
Yeah, so just generally speaking, our digestive system consists of, starting in our mouth all the way down through our stomach, small intestine, large intestine, colon, down to the anus. So it's a closed system, in general. And the important part of it is that it helps you break down, absorb, utilize all the nutrients that you consume from your food. And so obviously that's important. It helps you get all the basic building blocks to your cells so that you can nourish your body. And it helps remove all of the toxic and harmful materials out through your waste. And so it's really important that that system is intact and it's working properly. So we have kind of an epidemic really of what we call leaky gut. So we have different things, foods, chemicals, things that are creating a permeable gut, which allows food particles and harmful toxic materials into our bloodstream. So things that we don't want into the rest of our body, into our bloodstream, is getting in there because we have a permeable gut. And so it's said that the digestive system is at least 80% of our immune system. So it's so important. You can imagine a lot of, a way to look at that is that a leaky gut or a poor digestive system is a gateway to chronic disease. So what most people don't know is that a lot of these chronic diseases have at its core poor gut health and leaky gut, but most doctors don't really address that or look at that. And so it's really important. We're talking about optimal health, holistic health. We really want to do things, and a lot of these are very simple things, to keep our gut health in a good state. These small little steps every day and choices that we can make to keep a good, healthy gut, strong immune system, prevent disease, feel good. So that's what our talk is today. So 10 things that you can do to optimize gut health. And a lot of people out there, if you're someone with constipation issues, irritable bowel, Crohn's, a lot of these inflammatory gut issues, these are also going to be really great tips to help you as well.
Yeah, acid reflux, GERD.
Acid reflux, GERD. So
even
very
depression,
simple.
I think that's another thing that gets overlooked is
Yeah.
even all the serotonin and dopamine receptor, all that gets produced in the gut. So if this is not good, it affects the entire system. So
yeah, there's definitely a connection between gut health and brain health. Even Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride has a really great book called Gut and Psychology Syndrome, looking at people with autism, schizophrenia, mental anxiety disorders, depression, and how there's a link between poor gut health and brain disorders. So there's a connection there. So great book to read if you want to dive deeper into there. But again, another reason why we want to keep our guts healthy. So not only the gut, but how it affects our brain and our mood as well.
yeah, so 10 tips. So we'll get to this. So we got a lot of people on now, so if you're just joining us, please drop us a comment, say hi. Also, please share this information on your feed so more people can get this information we're about to share. So one quick thing. I put a link above. A lot of things we're talking about are things we talk about in our 30-day challenge. If you haven't signed up to our 30-day challenge, I highly recommend you do that. It's for people who are ready to reset their health and commit to 30 days of eating and living where we can teach you how to maximize nutrition and minimize toxicity, and we love helping people transform their life. So,
yes. Hold on real quick. Somebody asked the name of that book I just mentioned, Gut and Psychology Syndrome by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. She also has a website, so check that out.
yeah, super, super powerful. So, first tip, we came up with these tips today. Actually, these are things we use all the time. But first tip we have here is removing inflammatory or gut irritating foods. So what are some of the big gut irritating foods that people have out there?
Yeah, so just for anyone in general, and our recommendations, especially if you have gut issues or digestive issues, removing toxic industrial seed vegetable oils. So those are quite inflammatory. Those are your canola oil, soybean oil, cottonseed oil, those types of oils, which you're going to find primarily in processed and packaged foods hidden in there. And also many restaurants and fast food places use those oils to cook with. So they're pretty much all over the place. I think it's 80% or so of the food that we eat collectively is processed. So getting rid of processed and packaged foods and really looking at the oils that you're cooking with. The other inflammatory foods, grains, specifically gluten-containing grains, very difficult to digest. Create some of them, including gluten, are really prime. Those are really big factors in what are creating leaky gut and autoimmune issues, as well as conventional dairy. So things like pasteurized, homogenized milk, cheese. We highly recommend getting rid of those three. Those are kind of the big three toxic, gut irritating, inflammatory food. In general, that can really, eliminating those things can really help improve your digestive system.
Yeah, it's really the proteins that are found in grains, so gluten and gliadin, and then in dairy, it's casein and whey. These all have the potential to compromise the gut. Basically, like think about poking holes through a hose, and it allows these proteins to get into the bloodstream, and the body views them as invaders, like they're being attacked, and that's what's really setting off the immune system. So if you're someone who is suffering from any autoimmune issue, multiple sclerosis, arthritis, anything like that, it's very, very good idea to completely cut out grains and dairy altogether. It dramatically helped me, dramatically helped Brenda and all the people that we work with. So
that's one.
Number two. This is an easy, simple habit. Everybody could do it. Drinking a big glass of water first thing in the morning. So what does that do for you?
Or at least like about an 8-ounce glass. It doesn't have to be huge.
I like to drink a big glass.
So I highly recommend, what we like to do is a splash of apple cider vinegar, a squeeze of half of a lemon, and a little bit of sea salt. And what that does is you've been fasting all night long, and so that really helps to get your bowels moving in the morning and hydrating your cells. Lots of different benefits, but really to get the bowels moving in the morning. And then apple cider vinegar and the lemon also, lemon being astringent, everything kind of get things moving, hydrating, alkalizing your body.
Yeah, I think it's so simple, and I noticed that it helps me become regular. When I regularly drink water in the morning, it's like 15 minutes later, I go poop. Yeah. It's like clockwork, and that's another thing that you can tell is good quality digestion is you are regular.
Yes.
It's consistent every day. So that's another simple one. Drink water first thing in the morning. So number 3, and we had a few people ask about these, are what are some good gut healing foods that you can start bringing in to populate your gut with a healthy microbiome?
Right. So as Chad mentioned, microbiome. So we have 100 trillion cells. We are actually mostly bacteria, more bacteria than we are human, which is really fascinating. And so we want to do things to help feed and keep a healthy balance of gut bacteria. And we do so many things in our culture and our environment that really help, that really cause the bacteria to be completely unbalanced. Things like antibiotics, things like sugar, processed foods. So eliminating those things or minimizing those things, and then doing things like fermented foods, which really help, which are probiotic bacteria and really help feed and populate the good bacteria in our guts. So we really like fermented vegetables like raw sauerkraut, kimchi, things like coconut yogurt, coconut kefir are really great. And then things like bone broth, like homemade bone broth, which is really simple to do, but bone broth has many healing properties, but it has constituents in it from, it's made from bones and cartilage and collagen, and it really helps to heal and seal the gut lining. So it's a really great way to heal and seal the gut. So how do you use that? You make your own homemade soups. I will just put it in a mug with some sea salt and drink it instead of coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker. And I've done a lot of work on my gut. So I was incredibly sick. One of my big issues was leaky gut. And so I've been researching and doing this myself for many, many years and still working on healing my gut. So fermented foods, bone broth, aloe can be a helpful food as well. Things like celery and green apple juice. Celery really helps to heal the gut. So that's another morning drink that I like to include, is just juicing celery and green apple in the morning. So just a few ideas, but those are really great tools.
Yeah, and you can make your own homemade bone broth, where you have to go to like Whole Foods and get bones, or go to the farmer's market and get bones and make it, or get chicken bones. Or you can also simply order it online. There's great places like Kettle and Fire is one of them that we order from often. There's lots of brands out there, but
yeah, it's becoming a lot more popular. You might be hearing it. So we've got some really great small companies that are starting to make it and sell it. So it's not something that everyone has to make, but it's a lot cheaper to do it that way.
Yeah, just a few questions here. So how does
questions?
one get started with paleo? Honestly, the easiest way is to commit to the 30-day challenge.
Yeah, join our 30-day challenge. It's incredible. We have a great support, a great support system. We have a great Facebook page. It's a great program. So yeah, 30-day challenge is a great place to get started there. All right.
Yeah. So let's go to the next one here. So rest and digest. So I'll talk a little bit about this one, because one of my favorite things is to understand the nervous system. So we have this nervous system, and it's either in the sympathetic state, which is fight or flight. You know, like if you were going to get ready to go to work out and exercise or run from a lion or something like that. And then we have this opposite state, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is more of a rest and digest. So one of the issues that we see in our culture is that many people are just ramped up with stress. We're waking up early in the morning, and we have this long to-do list, and it's go, and exercise. And we're always in that sympathetic dominant state. So we're not very good at putting ourselves in a calm, relaxed state where our body can really digest and break down food. And a lot of this has to do with not just the nervous system, but also where blood is pooling in the body. So if you are in that sympathetic state, all the blood's in your extremities. And if you're in a calm, relaxed state, the blood moves from the extremities closer towards the stomach, where you can better break down food. So this is why one thing, it's actually healthy for you to pause before you eat and just let your body get into a calm, relaxed state. Other things that are very helpful are meditation, which we talk a whole lot about, just being consistent with that and being very good at knowing how to put your body in a calm, relaxed state. Also, taking time to learn how to breathe through your belly, just simply laying on your back and inhaling and letting your stomach rise, not necessarily your chest first, because we don't want you to breathe out of your chest and too shallow, because that can stimulate the sympathetic nervous system. But learning how to breathe through your belly and allowing blood to pool in there, and then exhaling through your belly. And that's a great way to put your body in a state where it can actually digest food. And it's so important, and it's so overlooked. It's like we see people working out, and then right after they're done working out, they try to eat, but their body can't absorb anything they're eating. So it's important to give yourself some time and try not to eat food when you're in that ramped up state.
Right.
Try not to be watching the Super Bowl and eating, because your body's like, oh, it's not digesting the food. So keep it calm, keep it relaxed, keep it still.
Yeah, just some simple tools there, or concepts there is like, take a moment before you eat, take some deep breaths, and bless your food and really connect with your food. And, turn off the TV, turn off all the other chaos, and really enjoy, your family. And
gratitude.
Yeah, be grateful. And like Chad said, take some time in your day to, whether it's meditation or getting on the floor and doing some belly breathing, or taking little peace periods through the day and just simply breathing. I like the heart-focused breathing from Heart Math Institute. So just a simple act of breathing can shift your nervous system into a parasympathetic state, so that you can digest your food. Often overlooked, very simple, but just breathing. Okay, so rest and digest. Make sure you got that.
We got number 5 coming up, and that is movement.
Movement.
What type of movement are we talking about here?
So yeah, just getting your body moving helps to stimulate the bowels moving, the peristalsis, that wave-like contraction of your bowels. So simple thing as walking, rebounding, which I love, rebounding, yoga, tai chi, qigong, just some simple movement can really help. I mean, it has numerous benefits. We all know exercise has numerous benefits, but if you're someone that is constipated or dealing with digestive issues, just movement in general will help keep a healthy digestive system.
All right, number 6. This is your personal favorite?
Yes.
The squatty potty.
The squatty potty. So this is incredible. I actually have it right here. Yes. This lovely device. If you have not heard about the squatty potty, let me just tell you. This is fantastic. So what happens is, you know, I do not know who came up with the toilet, but when we are sitting on the toilet, we're sitting in such a way that it makes us very difficult to eliminate, and we often don't fully eliminate our bowels because we're sitting in such a way that there's a muscle called the puborectalis muscle, I believe, and what it does is pinch off the end of your colon, and it makes it very difficult to fully empty your bowels. But when you get your knees higher than your hips in like a womb squat is what I call it, but like a deep squat, that angle changes, that puborectalis muscle releases, and you can fully empty. And you know, it's funny because I learned this in yoga training, and I actually for a while I decided that I was just going to crawl up on top of the toilet into like a squat, and instead of getting the squatty potty, and it was pretty, it was kind of a disaster and kind of difficult to do. But the squatty potty, just right there, you put your feet on it, and then it allows your knees to come above your hips. If you are anyone dealing with constipation or hemorrhoids or any sort of bowel issues, just anyone in general, really, it's a fantastic. I think it's like $20 or $30 on Amazon. Totally worth it. And yeah, it's just fantastic. So I wanted to throw that out there because it's something, it really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, anatomically, it really does make sense. So,
yeah.
Number 7 we have here is food combining, and this is something you've been teaching me a lot more of lately, is to be aware of what foods I combine with certain foods.
Yeah, there's some simple laws of food combining, although it can get pretty detailed and it can be, maybe not something that you want to focus on entirely. But what I find in my own digestive system and for several others, especially when it comes to fruit. Fruit can also be really helpful in getting your bowels moving too, with the fiber and the structured water contained in fruit, like melons and papaya. Those can be really helpful for getting the bowels moving. But consuming, especially melons, by themselves, so consuming fruits separate from proteins and fats, so consuming the fruit by itself can really help with digestion, because there's different processes going on when you're digesting proteins and the carbohydrates from the fruits. So, kind of getting a little bit more simple with your foods and consuming the fruit on its own separate from the protein. And when you're consuming protein, eating it with like greens and green vegetables and things will help the whole digestive process go a little bit smoother. That's what I found in my own self and several of our clients.
All right. So number 8 here is eating until you're 80% full.
Yes.
And this is a great one, I think. It's such a simple rule.
Yes.
But when we eat until we're 80% full, we leave some room for all those important gastric juices to come in the stomach and actually break down our food. It's kind of like what we described as too many logs in the furnace. If there's not enough room for oxygen to get in there, the
Yes.
fire can't actually start. In other words, you can't ignite your digestive fire. So eating until you're 80% full allows for your digestive system to start breaking down the food much better. And it also does something else for leptin, which is a hormone, which sends a message to your brain in terms of how much food you have and how much more you need to keep eating in order to be satiated. Because sometimes that actually takes a while. It doesn't happen instantly. So stopping when you're 80% full allows the time for that message to go to your brain, and you can really sense much better whether or not you've had enough to eat or not.
Yes. Yeah. I think you hit hit everything there. But yeah, we have a lot of ancient traditions that talk about this digestive fire. So just keeping that fire burning so that you can properly break down all your food, and you don't want to be completely stuffed to the brim. That compromises your digestive system.
Exactly. Number 9, your area of expertise. We have herbs and essential oils, some things that can be helpful there. What would that be?
Yes. So you probably heard certain herbs like peppermint, ginger. Those are very helpful to improve your digestion. Also fennel. So what I really love, I'm really into essential oils. I love this blend by doTERRA called Digestion. And it is a blend of peppermint, ginger, caraway, tarragon, fennel, if I hadn't said that yet. But a lot of people ask, what can I do if, I'm having constipation or diarrhea? I don't want to take the Pepto-Bismol and the medicine, any drugs. This works amazingly well. I always have it in my purse, and even if I'm going out to eat and I'm a little bit unsure of the meal, if like it's gonna, have some stuff that's gonna bother my stomach, because my stomach's very sensitive, I will take a few drops of Digestion, or there's a couple ways you can utilize this oil. You can put a couple drops in a little bit of water and take it like a shot. You can also put it in a little bit of a carrier oil like coconut or almond oil and rub it directly around your navel on your belly, and give yourself a nice gentle abdominal massage. This is one thing that works very, very quickly. Like I said, whether you're on the spectrum of having constipation, just an upset stomach, or diarrhea, this is fantastic. I can also put a link of where you can purchase this. But love this, and also including just the herbs that I mentioned in your diet. Peppermint, ginger, including those types of things in your diet will be helpful for digestion as well.
Last thing we have here is some supplements that might help.
Yeah, so enzymes, especially when you're eating cooked food and you're not consuming raw food with lots of enzymes that help naturally break it down, including enzymes with cooked food can be really helpful. Take the burden off your digestive system, and things like hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is something we naturally produce. It helps break down protein, but oftentimes for various reasons, and as we age, hydrochloric acid production decreases substantially. And if you aren't breaking down that protein, it becomes a huge issue, because although you might be eating this beautiful grass-fed meat, but if you can't break it down properly and get it to where it needs to go, it becomes a huge burden on your system and create all kinds of issues. And that was really true for me, and I still, to this day, struggle with my ability to break down protein properly, just because of all the damage that was done over time for me. But when I included a supplement with hydrochloric acid and enzymes, it really was a game changer for me. Also helped me substantially with my gut and my skin issues, which are often a reflection of gut health. So I recommend, if you really want to dance with the whole hydrochloric acid thing and look into that, it's good to work with a practitioner that can help you figure out what to be taking there. But most everyone can do really well and benefit from doing digestive enzymes with their food.
Yeah, and a general rule, I think a safe thing is, what we tell people is to take maybe 1 to 2 capsules mid-meal, and that's anytime you're eating some protein and some fat to help you break down this food a lot better. Yeah. And absorb it. So one other thing we forgot to mention is not drinking water with your meals. This is something that is so simple but so overlooked, because we have a habit of putting food in our mouth and then chasing that food down with our water. And what that does is it dilutes the natural juices in our mouth, the natural acids in our stomach, and that help break down that food. And we get away with it because we've been eating foods that are so easily digestible with the conventional standard American diet, with grains and
the highly processed
foods
are a little bit easier to digest. And then when we start eating whole, real foods, we have a compromised digestive system. Sometimes we run into challenges with that, and it's not necessarily that we're eating foods that are bad if they're whole, real foods, but it's because our digestive system is not working properly, because it hasn't been for a long time. And like Chad said, digestion begins in the mouth, And so, one other thing to kind of add to that is it's so important to chew your food. Chewing your food helps decrease the burden on your gut, having to break that food down. So chewing your food till it's soup is often what we say, or chewing 36 times. That's a pretty wild thing for some people. Some people are like, 3-4 chews, and then they swallow it with water. And so you're setting yourself up for a disastrous thing, especially doing this over time, is that you're going to have a lot of undigested food, which becomes fermented, which becomes food for bad bacteria. So chew your food until it's soup, and then either eliminate water with your meals, so drinking 30 minutes before, and then waiting 45 to 60 minutes after your meal before you drink again. And so that also helps to keep that digestive fire going. So when you think about when you're drinking with your meals, you're diluting your gastric juices and you're putting out your digestive fire. So chew your food, don't drink with your meals.
Yeah, and I think having your last glass of water maybe about 20-30 minutes before your meal, not having anything during your meal, chewing your food till it's soup, and then waiting about 30 to 60 minutes after your meal before you start drinking again. And the rest of the day, drink all the water you want.
Yes.
But in and around your
Hydration
meals,
is important.
Yeah, in and around your meals, you want your own internal gastric juices doing what they're doing to break down their food. So,
yeah.
A few things I want to address, because I've been watching the comments, and there's people commenting that paleo's bad, or vegan's the way to go, or paleo's too hard, or all this stuff. I want to just talk about what it is that Brenda and I stand for and what we do in our program, our 30-day challenge. So I know our title is the Paleo Secret. We're not tied to paleo at all. What we're trying to do is steer people towards whole, real food. That is what is going to help no matter who you are, as far as how much protein you eat or how little protein you eat, or whether you do eat animal-based protein or not at all, doesn't necessarily matter in this program. What matters to us is that you steer away from the problematic foods like refined and processed sugars, fake foods, toxic fats, grains, conventional dairy. I don't care who you are. If you get rid of those things and you start moving towards whole, real food, you will succeed. So that's why people coming from a vegan or a paleo approach, if they're coming from a standard American diet where they're eating crappy food, and then they eat something and they call it a Mediterranean diet or vegan diet or paleo diet, and they get great results, they get those great results by and large because they're eating whole, real food and moving away from the problematic foods. And I want to address that, because what we don't stand for are for people making each other wrong in an effort to get healthy. We want to provide a space of love and healing and connection, and that's what we're doing in our program. Just want to get it off my chest because it's such a big deal, and it frustrates me when people are so sighted in their way and they start to make others wrong in an effort to get healthy. Right? We have to realize that we're all here on this earth working together, trying to clean up the mess that has been handed to us, and we have to be very careful about making others wrong. Okay?
Yes. All right. Somebody, Angela, just said, how do you take your supplements if you can't drink water with your food? Yeah, Angela, when you're with your meals, if you have some supplements that you usually take, just drink a little tiny bit of water, just enough to wash down your pills, and you'll be fine. Another thing there is a good thing to have with your meals is maybe a little bit of bone broth as well, which will also be helpful for digestion, and a good liquid to help wash down pills. So yeah, you don't have to be like super, super strict, but just a little bit. The whole idea is not to drink like a huge glass of water with a meal. So just a little bit.
To chase your food.
Yeah,
to
chase your food,
yeah.
And which allows you not to chew your food, which is a really big, important part in the digestive process.
Yeah.
If you have any other questions, let us know. This has been a 10-year journey for us on healing, especially healing my body. I've had a lot of gut issues, and Chad has also had a lot of mental, emotional issues. He talks about his depression. I talked about severe chronic health issues, all stemming from poor gut health. And that was a really key piece in our healing journeys. So, like I said, gut health is very, very important no matter who you are, especially in the world that we live today. So take care of yourself. And we hope that these these tips, these tools will help you no matter where you are and what you're doing.
Yeah, and we just covered digestion today, but we have so much more we want to tell you as far as everything about to do with health, because it keeps expanding for us and we love sharing it. So the best way to be a part of that is really to join our 30-day challenge. Lots of people are asking, what about eczema? What about arthritis? What about blood pressure? What about whatever?
Yeah.
We like to view what we do in our 30-day challenge as sort of like a shotgun approach, right? No matter what you're going through, we see it that we can help you in some way with what you're doing, because we're tackling the biggest issues in terms of managing your hormones, improving gut function, and really minimizing the inflammation in your life. And when you do that, all those other things get better. We're not going to solve them with one pill or one thing that we can take or one special drink or whatever. It's a complete lifestyle change that we're going for and we're trying to teach.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a reset. And then from there, you can make it individualized and specific to your needs and adjust it to what works for you. And sometimes that takes time of learning how these foods, how certain foods react to your body and what works for you. So, but we at least give you this 30-day, these guidelines and this reset, and then from there, you can really go out and figure out what works for you. Somebody did ask about eczema, and this is something that's really important to me. One of the biggest issues that I was facing, 8 years ago was full body eczema or dermatitis, so skin rashes covering my entire body for 2.5 years. And so there's definitely a huge connection between gut health and skin issues and your ability to detoxify. So when you've got eczema and you've got skin issues, you definitely have issues getting rid of toxic material in your body, and you're toxic. Largely that could be something to do with poor digestive health and a leaky gut. So you're getting toxic things into your bloodstream. When I started to do hydrochloric acid, heal my gut, and get rid of some infections that had kind of taken over, that really was instrumental in me starting to heal my skin issues. And I no longer have any skin problems. And like I said, I was literally covered in rashes for 2.5 years, having to sleep with ice packs covering my entire body in order to sleep. So that's something that's very, very important to me, and people don't really, I too was doing the pills and the steroids and the creams for the eczema, doing the conventional approach and getting nowhere. So when I started healing from the inside out, that's when my skin started to heal. So if you're dealing with skin issues and eczema, definitely look inside. The gut health is really, really important. So any other questions? There's lots of questions.
Yeah, so if you guys have questions, leave them in the comments section.
Yeah.
We will do our best to answer them for the rest of the day, or tomorrow we'll get to them. And also, if you're thinking about the challenge, there's a link that's going to be above this video somewhere, and you can click on that and you can learn more about the challenge, what it's all about, and what we're offering it for right now. And we offer a 60-day money-back guarantee that gets you a guide, shopping list, all these amazing things that you can help with your life, and you get access to lifetime access to our private Facebook group, where, it's seriously the best thing ever happening on Facebook, because everyone in there is working together and connecting and sharing and holding each other accountable, and it's transformative what can happen when people come together in an effort to all
improve their health.
And
connect. Yeah, and that's where you can also connect with us and our coaches.
We're in there
our
every day.
head coach Andy, to get support and ask questions. And so that makes our program unique, and that's what we really love about our Facebook community. So anyways, I hope you guys found that helpful in some way. And if you did, please share it and comment. We'll do our best to answer your questions. And we hope you have a beautiful Sunday. Go eat some food and share it with your family, and get a little bit of rest in, and have a beautiful week.
Much love, you guys. Bye-bye.